Hello everyone, Marco Montemagno here, Digital Domination Summit 2013, and with me today, even if I have no voice anymore, David Siteman Garland, amazing, phenomenal. David, I'm so happy to have you here. Hi.
Marco, I appreciate your efforts. Still doing it with very little voice. I love it. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's amazing because, you know, so many interviews that my voice just gone. Anyway, I just go straight to the point. And I have a lot of things to ask you, and I really want to get all your expertise and knowledge to share your tips with the audience. But first, I want to give the people watching this video a little bit of context about why David Siteman Garland is here. And you know, at this Digital Domination Summit, you have people ranging from David Weinberger, Gary Vaynerchuk, David, and so on. So very difficult skill sets, but very interesting. And I want to give you my personal story. Me and David, we just met you now, so it's not you know a spot or anything. But I just want to give you my personal, real story, just that people can understand how it really went. So I was just surfing around, I think 1 year ago, and I was trying to have a look about, you know, web television show interviews about mediapreneurship, entrepreneurship, and so on. And then I just discovered David. And in the beginning, I just had to look to a few interviews, and I thought, well, cool interviews. And then I found a course, how to create awesome interviews. And to be honest, I'm always so skeptical, you know, about, you know, info products and so on. And also, I've been hosting a television show on Sky News in Italy for 7 years. So I thought, well, I know a little bit about, you know, interviews in television, which is obviously a totally different business from doing in just one camera like that. But I said, okay, I want to try. And I'm gonna buy the course from this guy. I don't know him, but I'm gonna buy the course and I'll see, and I'll be very severe. So I just bought the course. I don't know even if you know that. And I thought, gosh, this is great stuff, you know? And then I started to follow you from there. And when I've been organizing the summit, I said, I want David Siteman Garland because this is a smart guy. And so that's the real story. That's the real story.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's funny that you mentioned that, and of course I knew that you were a customer. I know who all my customers are. So that I appreciate you sharing that. That's always funny. It's just kind of a testament to how the internet works. You never know where you're going to run into interesting things and interesting people, for sure.
So David, let's talk about online courses. I really like the mantra that today marketing is education and is one part of this whole world e-learning stuff. On the other side, it's so interesting that everyone in the world today can really create something out of their passion or their knowledge. They can produce it, promote it, and monetize it. So you are really a master of it, I would say now. And you also coming out with a new course. Maybe we will talk about it later. And I would like you to help us to understand, so step by step, what are your best tips? So let's start from the first basic point. A lot of people. So first of all,
can I give? I want to give a little bit of context. Just give me 2 minutes of context.
Go ahead.
Okay. So for people that don't know, I started a platform and web TV show in 2008. Okay. So I've been at this for a little while, called The Rise to the Top, and you know, I've done interviews with all kinds of people that I call mediapreneurs. So people that are dominating online, creating cool online businesses, often around their personality, their personal brand, their expertise, their passions, right?
Yeah.
So I've been doing this for a long time. And what happened was, and this is just kind of an accidental story how I got into this, and then it became an obsession, was that in, you know, my model originally was to try to get sponsors and advertisers for my show. That was my original model, okay? Right. But I realized that the longevity of my business was going to be focused on us getting our own customers, not just trying to leverage stuff so that there's sponsors and advertisers, because sponsors and advertisers are a very, very tricky game. We've had some success with it, but bottom line is a sponsor could wake up tomorrow on the wrong side of the bed and they're a little unhappy, and then they cancel your sponsorship, and now your business could be gone overnight, you know what I mean, or a big chunk of it. So for years, people were telling me, David, darn it, you have to do like an information product of some kind. And I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't know what to do. I don't understand it. I don't want to mess with it. I don't know. But finally, this little thing in my brain kept coming out saying, you know, you can do this in an ethical, non-sleazy, awesome way and create something really cool.
Right.
So my challenge was, and this is where this all kind of wraps around, was, but I didn't know what to do. People said, oh, do a membership site, do an ebook, do a this, do a that, because there's all these different types of information products to do. But I decided, after obsessing on this, obsessing like a crazy person, that I was going to get immersed into the world of online courses. Okay? I want to create my own online course, which you're a customer of, right? Create Awesome Interviews was my online course that came out, you know, about a year and a half ago.
Right.
And what happened was, when I want to learn something, I go crazy. So I interviewed everyone on the subject. I researched everything. I read everything. And I put it together into my own little system and created a course all about doing online interviews. So it was, as you know, it was taking all my expertise and knowledge, packaging it up into a course, and getting it out to the world. And through all these trials and tribulations, you know, we did over 6 figures plus in profit on this course, continue to sell it every single day. So bringing this full circle is that what ended up happening is I really developed this sort of passion to help teach people how to do this, because other people are always very confused. Like, should I do a course? Should I not do a course? Should I do something else? So if you're sitting there today, and these are the tips I'm going to give you, and you're thinking, you know what, a course would be perfect. I'd love to package up my knowledge and sell it to people and make a lot of money and help people. You know, that's really kind of the context of how I learned about all this. So I just got to give us the context.
That's great. Thanks, David. Where would you suggest to start from? I mean, I give an example. I personally like to test and experiment. I'm an entrepreneur for the last 15 years, so I like to test a lot of stuff, not only with my companies, but only by myself, you know, because what I like of you, for instance, is that you try, you test on yourself, on your skin, you know, and then you decide and you say, guys, it works, it doesn't work for me, you know, and this is really an invaluable experience in my opinion. And so, for instance, I've been testing a couple of courses on Udemy, which is an online platform for the readers who never tried. But you know, you have so many options, and the first question is, where do you start from? I mean, what niche do you choose? Where do you start from when you want to launch your online course?
Right. So there's a great question. Here's some tips that people can get started with this as well right away. So first and foremost, the way that I teach this is that I teach it for people that have a platform of some kind. So that means that I'm going to make the assumption here when I'm teaching this to you guys that you either have a blog, a web show, a podcast, some kind of platform where you have a little bit of an audience built up already. Because what I'm going to teach is for those specific people that I call mediapreneurs, which means that you've been out there building. It doesn't have to be a huge audience, but you've got some kind of audience, some kind of platform. So the first thing that you have to think about is, what are the most common questions that you get on your blog or on your show? Via email, when people stop you in the street, you know, when people comment on Facebook and, you know, tweet on Twitter, whatever the platforms are, when people are asking you a question, what are they asking? Because often the most obvious thing is right under your nose. So, for example, for me, I got about 10 zillion emails asking me, how do I get a guest for a show? How do I record an interview? And I was like, it was in front of me for years. I just didn't realize it. You know what I mean? And so the first thing to do is really, what I would say is, pay attention to, you know, who, you know, what are people asking for you, or what are they getting? What are you starting to get known as? Now, if you're not getting a ton of questions, also look, what are your most trafficked posts on your site? What has gotten the most leverage for you on your site? Did you, you know, write about this, you know, kettlebell swinging in your fitness, and that got a huge response? There might be something there. And what I like to do then, because I like to test things for $0, you know, and I think here's a great tip here. You don't have to spend a lot of money to test this. So what I did then was made a series of posts on my site related to this topic to see how it would do. So for example, I did one on how to shoot interviews or something like that. And I did another one on how to get guests. And it was just a blog post and a video. And the response was huge. Huge. You know, lots of comments, lots of interaction, lots of sharing. And from that point on, you could start to get an idea of
what it works and what doesn't.
This could be something that we could package up and sell. So I think that's a great way to start, is by really paying attention to your own people.
Okay. Is there, David, a minimum amount of followers, subscribers, or something that you suggest? Okay, when you get, I don't know, the 1,000 true fans of Kevin Kelly theory, you start, or you can start with, I don't know, a few followers or subscribers and then grow from it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know if I have a number in mind. I could share this, though, with you. And this is what's crazy, is that when I first did my course, you know, my first course came out, on the people that were interested in the course, meaning they entered their email specifically saying they were interested in doing their own interview show, we had less than 500 people enter their emails.
I don't believe it. Come on, serious, really?
Still did six figures. So it's not necessarily about size. So it's more about time. So meaning, you know, God, it's hard to even quantify this, because it's a thought process of that you really have to be in. You can't just throw this up there after blogging for a month.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, in my ideal situation, if you're like, give me the ideal person that's going to be successful with this, they've been creating online content for at least 1 year.
Okay.
They've been creating it for at least 1 year. And, you know, I'm hoping that their subscribers are, you know, well over 1,000, if not far more than that. That's where I'm hoping that we can get a starting off point.
Right. Imagine that, all right, someone out there already figure out, you know, the kind of content that he want to teach, and then say, okay, I created the content, maybe it's a video course, or maybe, you know, slides, screencast, whatever the format he choose, and then he say, okay, now let's go, I'm gonna promote it, you know, and then you start to face the internet and how tough it is to be, you know, to get outside there. Do you have any point or you know, actionable tips on it?
Yeah, so a big mistake that I see people do here is they do what I would call the launch and pray, which is they just stick the course doesn't exist on your site one day, and the next day it does exist on your site, and you say, everyone go buy, right? Like it's not there, and then it's there, and everyone needs to come buy. And it just doesn't work that way. I don't care how much credibility you built up, you have to go through what we call a launch of doing your course. It's not just release and pray that everyone comes in and buys it. And so the method that I teach, and you know, which I can share some tips on, is that you want to build an email list of specific people interested in your course. It's going to be a subset of your audience. It's probably not going to be everyone in your audience. It's going to be a certain percentage of your audience is interested in this topic. So the tip that I have on this is that you want to create what's called a squeeze page. So a page where, you know, people go and they enter their email in return for some type of free content related to the topic. So for example, when I was doing Create Awesome Interviews, I would give out a free video about the benefits of doing interviews. I would give out a free video about rookie mistakes when doing interviews. And I gave out a free video about some simple tools to get started. Yeah. Okay.
That's where you got me, by the way, on the tools.
Oh, the tools? Okay, good to know. That's good to know. People love tools. And so the idea here is that there's anticipation built up for the course. So what happened was people entered their email, they got a free video. A few days later, we emailed them another free video. A few days later, we emailed them another free video. And then afterwards, it was basically simply saying, hey, take this knowledge and go and run with it. Or if you want me to hold your hand and show you step by step, here's the course.
Right.
And so I've tested a lot of different ways on this. And the mentality, if you were to take away one actionable tip here on this, it's you got to be thinking about like the course as if you were launching anything, a product, a book, etc. It's not just throw it up there. You want to build anticipation. A movie just doesn't come out. There's previews. There's other things like that that come out beforehand. And also, it gives you a chance to kind of prove your teaching style and, you know, attract the people that are going to be the right customers for you. It's not about everyone. It's about getting the right customers.
Right. David, obviously, I would stay here, talk with you for ages, you know, but we have short time and you're super busy. So I have to cut it short and try just to pick little bits, and then people interested just will go and check your course. The last part, I mean, is creation. Okay, then you promote it. then you have to try to sell it, which it sounds easy, but it is not. You know, selling something online is always tricky. And I would like also here a few tips from you, and also the pricing. You know, what's the price that you should charge, because you see stuff from $9 till $2,000 and over. So it's very difficult to position yourself. Well, what are your take on it?
Yeah, and I have a few just kind of general tips too that I'll give as well. But you know, the thing here, first of all, on pricing, let's go second question first, is that pricing, you want to be at the premium end of your market.
Okay.
The premium end of your niche. So if you're in, let's say, the fitness niche, that's very different than the business niche, and that's very different than this niche. So you have to do a little research to see what's out there in your niche, but you want to be at the premium end. You want to be the Saks Fifth Avenue. You don't want to be the Walmart of your industry, because here's the thing: the more premium you can go, right, the more high quality customers you're going to get in, and the less you have to sell for it to be very successful. You know what I'm saying? And so I always encourage be in the top 10% of the other courses that are in your market. Okay, so for me, one course was $497. I have stuff at $997. It just depends on where you're at, but you want to be in the premium. It's very, very important. Now, in terms of selling, this is the fun part, is that the selling is actually the easiest part of the course. The hard part is coming up with the things like your hook, your positioning, your credibility, you know, going through the recording, going through the launch. The selling is the logical step that comes at the very end, which is basically saying, hey, let's go on and take the next step. You know what I mean? There's no pushy selling like, hey, this is going to cure world hunger. There's no knocking them over the heads with this kind of stuff. Really, the selling comes down to saying, listen, if we want to take the next step, you've liked what I've given you so far, here's what we got to do. And so a few kind of little quick tips kind of off of that, just involving courses in general, is number one, where people get hung up, is they sit there for days or weeks obsessing about the name of their course. Right?
Okay.
The name of the course doesn't matter. It does not matter. I swear to God, it doesn't matter.
Let's call it course.
The course does not matter, the name. What matters is that you can get that URL, you know, the name, whatever name you decide, that you can get the .com, okay? And what matters, though, is the hook and the positioning, the quality, and the marketing. Those are the things that matter, not the name. And people get hung up on that name all day. It's unbelievable. Yeah. The other thing is the number one credibility builder that you can have, social proof, credibility, whatever you want to call it, when you come out with this, is your personal story.
Okay.
Bar none, period, your personal story. So, you know, I had someone come to me the other day and said, I want to do a course about how to become a six-figure blogger. I said, okay, that's interesting. I said, how much does your blog make? Oh, it doesn't make any money.
Okay.
Okay, well, you know what? That's not the topic for you, because you don't have the chops and credibility to do that. You know what I mean? You know, I could teach you about certain things. There's many things I cannot teach you about. So be thinking in terms of topic-wise, what have I experienced? You know, have I lost 50 pounds doing this? Have I increased my strength? Have I, you know, redecorated my house? Whatever the thing is that brings you the credibility, your personal story is going to be what helps sell this and also differentiate you from the pack.
Right.
And then the final two things on that is, another one is involving your audience and your fans in the process of doing this. You know, making it interactive, asking them questions, sending out surveys, you know, involving them, not just creating this course in a vacuum and then, again, just launching it and praying. And the final thought is that the launch is the beginning, not the end. So the launch is what gets it out there and gets it ready for the world. But to have a real business selling courses or doing things like that, you want to continue to sell it over time. You don't want to just launch it once a year and then say, all right, guys, see you next year. You know, there's ways that you can make a course evergreen so that you're always selling without having to be a hard selling jerk. So those are some of the kind of in-depth tips there for you.
Super interesting. David, we went so long, but I didn't want you to stop because it was so interesting. And also, before to close, I'm asking to all the speakers at Digital Domination Summit, what are their best 3 tools? You say tools are always interesting, and it's true, you know, because people immediately try to use tools, but obviously they need all the strategy before. But what are your best 3 technical tools on your phone or on your laptop that you really recommend to people doing business online? If there are your 3 top favorite?
Office Autopilot
right.
is one of my new favorites because we just switched everything over to them. And they're basically for people that, you know, it's a combination email marketing, customer management, you know, selling your products using their order forms, all that kind of stuff. It's really a great process for bringing things that I used to do on all different kinds of software.
Cool.
I brought into one. So Office Autopilot, great for people doing online business. ScreenFlow is a great tool for editing videos and creating videos. Not only do people when they think of ScreenFlow
think about recording screen.
They think of recording your screen and doing screencasts.
Yeah.
And of course it's amazing for that. That's what it's designed for. But what people don't know is that it's an amazingly easy editor and an amazingly easy way to also do webcam videos, like with you sitting here in front of a cam to record to. So I use it to make 99% of my videos, and it's just an unbelievable easy tool to use for sure. So ScreenFlow would be my second one. Let's see, my third one. My third one would be Lead Pages. Lead Pages is super sexy. It is a software that basically allows you to create very easy opt-in pages, squeeze pages, webinar registration page, any kind of page that's a pain in the butt to make.
Right.
They have templates set up for you to do so that actually look good, and the company was founded by a marketer, so they understand that it's not just about looking good, it's also about getting people to actually
Conversion
take action. And so Lead Pages is a great tool I experiment with all the time. So those would be my 3 tools: Office Autopilot, ScreenFlow, Lead Pages.
Cool, very interesting. By the way, Lead Pages, they also produce Lead Player that can easily collect email through the video, and is also very good. David, thank you so much. What's the name? You said the name of the course is not important, but what's the name of the new course that you're launching? Course of the course?
Yeah, and let me give you the link. It's called Create Awesome Online Courses.
All right.
Okay. And what I've done real quick here, just as we wrap, is I've set up a link just for folks that are attending.
All right.
So it's createawesomeonlinecourses.com/domination. So createawesomeonlinecourses.com/domination. And if anyone is interested and they decide, hey, I want to try this out, what I'm going to do is for anyone that purchases through this event, and again, no pressure, but you look in there and you say, hey, it's a fit for me, I'm going to do a group Q&A session just with you guys. So it's going to be, you're going to get access to me to answer any of your questions just for people that have attended this, because I know you put together something awesome and the speakers are great. And Marco, I'm glad to be part of it, my man.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I didn't know that, so I'm happy to discover it now live. Thank you so much, David. So David Siteman Garland, guys, just go have a look at his amazing website. Race to the Top is your main website. Last question, because gosh, David, I really would love to ask you so many things. You recently started to do videos. You did so many interviews with so many people, but also recently you started to do some video where it's something more personal. You know, it's like you just talk about your mistakes or what's happening behind the scenes. Why did you do this choice, and what's the feedback that you're having? Is something good? Is a good way to go?
Oh my God, I just was recently talking to some other kind of people in the internet business about this for 2 days in San Diego. We were sitting there talking about these different things, and I was talking about how, and basically what he's referring to is that I started telling some very behind-the-scenes kind of stories of success, failure, things like that over time.
Yeah.
And what I've realized is that people really resonate with stories. I mean, they really resonate. Not with just, tips are awesome. This is what we're doing is tips. That's how you learn things, right? That's how you implement things. But to really make a connection with people, they love to hear your personal successes and failures. So I was sitting there and I said, well, I look back and I said, man, anytime I share something personal, I get a big response. Something personal, I get a big response. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start sharing more of my story. I'm going to start sharing more of ups and downs and things that I've done personally. And people are just resonating with it. It's like something about where, they're there's no fluff, there's no theory. It's just like, this is what I did, or this is what I tried, and this is what happened. And I think that's why people are connecting to it, for sure. I mean, the response has been ridiculously huge on it.
Very interesting. David, thank you so much. David Siteman Garland. David, good luck for everything, and keep in touch.
All right, thank you.